Hi guys, got my morning tea. Do you guys sip your tea? Where it's like, I don't know what I'm saying. Hi, I'm excited. Today's Tuesday, and most of the time that I've been doing these live streams, I've been talking about Kinergy and the philosophy behind it, and then also just the classes that we've been doing. But I just wanted to connect and just talk to you guys and bring you along in my morning routine, which is, I already did it, but I usually do a half a cup of lemon water or a half a lemon with some hot water and have that in my morning. And now I'm on to tea, a little PG Tips English breakfast. So that's my go-to for this morning. What kind of tea do you guys drink? This is a great conversation about tea. I also really love matcha. Little mint tea is always refreshing. But what I thought I would do is just have this opportunity to bring some people on and just talk. And who better than one of my dearest friends, Q, who is a poet, and he has a book out today, March 31st. So we're going to get him on and get going. But before that happens, I am going to pin his book. So it's in the comments right here. Let's see, how do I do that? Let me make sure I do this right. I think I did it. Yes, and there is Q. Perfect. I love it. And I'm gonna pin this, pin comment. There we go. Oh my gosh, I did it. Okay, looks like Q is on, so let's get going, shall we? Let me send a message to him right now. See if we can sign in. All right. How do we do this? I did this the other day, and now I don't know what I'm doing. Go live with, there we go. All right, let's see if he's in. I see some of your tea suggestions. Oh, you've got your tea. Yes.
Tea time.
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking coffee actually, but
Oh, okay. How do you take your coffee?
straight up.
Just black, bold.
Just straight up. Yeah.
Straight up.
What are you doing? You said you put some lemon in there, some honey.
Yeah, so every morning I usually do like a half a lemon and some hot water. That's just like my morning routine. And then I actually have tea. So this is like English breakfast, PG Tips with a little bit of oat milk. Yeah, that's my jam.
Just a smidgen of oat milk.
Just a little smidgen.
A little pinch.
Just a little pinch, a little dollop.
A little dollop. How you doing, my friend? Thank you for saying hello this morning and having tea with me and helping to promote the book. I truly appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, of course. We talked briefly on my Kinergy profile the other day, and the response that just everybody was talking about was after listening to you read and then what I read from your book, and it was just phenomenal. So we wanted to bring you over on this one. And by we, I mean my multiple personalities.
That's me. I'm a Gemini.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, my Venus is in Gemini, so that's my love life. Makes total sense.
I'm just going to nod like I know what that means.
So tell us about your book. First of all, everybody, it's right here. And it's beautiful. It's Inquire Within, which I've already like almost read the whole thing because it's just like, it's heaven on earth. So it's pinned in the comments if you guys want to go check it out, but don't go yet. Listen now. But yeah, tell us about your book.
Okay, so I told you the other day, but I'll just repeat for anybody who hasn't heard. So the branches on the cover mirror the roots, and if you turn it upside down, you know, the branches become the roots.
Yeah.
And then when you turn it to the side, it's lungs. And of course, that obviously connects with you and all that you do with Kinergy and presence and breath. And the two halves of
grounded and coming up, but then also the breath. I mean, we're all connected. 100%.
Yeah, so that's actually the concept of that was as above, so below. Like in the spiritual world, in the physical world. What you do in the physical world mirrors the spiritual world, and the spiritual world mirrors the physical world. And then also it was supposed to be the right and left hemisphere of the brain.
Ooh, I love that so much.
So there was a lot of thought put behind the cover and behind the concept of inquiring within. And on the actual cover, it says, if you change the present, you change the past and the future. And I like that concept because oftentimes we're living in our projections of the future, or we're pulling from things that were unresolved in the past into this new moment. And if we are fully present in this moment, we can change both the future and the past. We change our relationship to the past, and we change what we're drawing in our future. And I hope that this book is a window into people inquiring within to hear their own voice. And there's a lot of time that people have right now. I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world, and we're all kind of in our own space. And so we're being forced to go inside.
We are, yeah. We're forced in a good way. You know, I think it's an amazing opportunity for us to go inward. I've been talking about it a lot, that I feel like it's almost like the kettle's been on the burner for too long and we're at a boiling point, and we've had, you know, life gives us distractions so we can take the kettle off, you know, but we can't go anywhere. We're forced to really deal with it, which I think is a beautiful thing. I mean, I think there's always beauty in the darkness, and if you can have that kind of attitude going in, then you can really shift the past and the future by staying in the present and dealing with it. So
yeah,
I'm so curious.
I was going to ask you a question. You can ask me. Go ahead.
No, I'm so curious though. Like, I mean, I just want to know how you got started. Like, have you always been like deep in thought, wanting to change the way people feel and think about themselves? And like, just tell us how you got started.
Yeah, so, okay, I was raised in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
And my mom's a school teacher. My dad was not around. And so she raised me on her own. And when I was like 13 or 14, I fell in love with hip hop. And I loved the expression of freestyling. I think more than anything else, similar to dance, freestyling forces you to be in the moment because you can't think about anything but the next line and the next rhyme.
Yeah.
And so it really drops you in. And I think it was an outlet for all of the unresolved stuff that I couldn't get out of my system otherwise. And I started to write and, you know, make songs. And then when I was 19, I wound up in an open mic for poets in LA called the Poetry Lounge. And it turned out to be the biggest open mic in the country. So it was like 250 to 350 people every single week that would show up and watch people who signed up on a list get up and read their poems. And it was like church without religion.
Yeah.
People were celebrated for their vulnerability in a way that I had never experienced. So similar, like if you were in a cipher or something and you said a punchline, people would be like, oh, you know. And when people were on stage at the lounge and they said something true, the audience would respond and cheer and clap. And so I just loved the environment, and that community immediately became a family for me. We won the National Poetry Slam Championships together. We were on HBO's Def Poetry Jam together. And one day I woke up, I realized I was more of a poet than an MC, and that was where the poetic journey began.
Oh, wow. So that was back when you were like 13, 14, you said?
When I started, it was like 13, 14, and then I wound up at the lounge at 19. And I think I really started pursuing poetry full time when I was like 26.
Wow. I mean, like a dancer, that's a tough job to have, because you're like, it's art, and some people don't pay for art. It's right. More of an experience. So to take that risk, was that, I mean, I don't know, I feel like I know the answer already, but like, was that scary, or was this like, no, this is who I am?
It was definitely, this is who I am. There was never a doubt that this was going to be the direction of my life. I don't feel like I chose my art. I feel like my art chose me. And I was always obsessed to create and to share what it was that I had created. And now I feel like it's an absolute privilege because I'm the first person in my audience. So I'm writing to myself. You know, I'm not thinking what do other people want to hear or what would be, you know, something that would go viral. I don't create from that way. I create from what sparks me, and then I explore those breadcrumb trails. And then at the end, I get a chance to get up and share with other people, just basically a reminder of me trying to live my best life. And in that way, I almost manifest it for myself.
Yeah. Well, I've been such a fan. My brother actually was the one that introduced me to you. And I'll never forget, like when I think I first met you, we were at an office and we were going to work on something together. And I came in, I was just buzzing on life because I had just experienced like this new body work. And like I was like basically high without anything other than energy. And I just remember you just being so kind. And it was the first time that I had really kind of understood like a transformational experience of going inward and recognizing and realizing certain things about myself. And you just got it. And I was like, oh my gosh, he totally sees me. You know, he just gets it. And so I feel very honored to know you in a sense where, you know, when you have friends and you just like, you don't even have to speak, they just get it. They just know. Like, I feel like that's you. And with your book, especially, I feel like reading it, I'm like, how does he know me? This is how I feel inside. And whether it's your experience or my experience, it's the collective experience. And we all are going through similar situations under different circumstances. But
I couldn't agree more.
I just appreciate you, and I'm really grateful to be your friend.
Thank you. I'm so grateful for you as well. Let me ask you, how did you get started? Because I know you started early, right? And
I was like coming out of the womb dancing for sure. My whole family danced, and I'm the baby of 5, and so by the time I was 10 years old, I mean, it was just that was my destiny. I was going to dance, I was going to perform, I was going to sing. We were kind of known as the Blonde Osmonds growing up in Utah. So we were just like a family entertaining, you know, circus basically. And you know, a lot of the journey that I went from inquiring within actually was in my 20s, my like mid 20s, where I was super aggressive and pushing forward, and I had a lot of willpower and desire and wants, and I'm a great manifester. I got a lot of the things that I set out to do, my goals. And then there was kind of an emptiness that was within, because I felt that well, I didn't realize it at the time until I learned that I was doing it for different reasons and validation other than just the pure artistry that was within me. It was more the performer versus the artist. And when I was able to tap into the artist, all of a sudden my creativity just like came back again. And I found more of my purpose within my passion versus my passion of just entertaining. It was more of, oh, this is my mission. I just want to help people connect to the freedom that's within them. And I do that through the body. So that's
was there a moment where that became clear for you, that you felt that transition specifically?
There's been multiple throughout my time. A lot of it was like cognitively. So like my mind had all this recognition and awareness for the first time. That was back in like 2013. And then energetically, when like everything shifted, was December of 2017. And that was like, whoa, this is new. This is what I want to be creating.
And what was the whoa? Like, what kind of like punched you in the face or in the spirit, or?
This might sound sad and like, it might sound a little sad to some people, but I hope it comes out the right way, is that I almost felt like my free will almost was just taken away. And my purpose was so strong and my mission was so strong that I've just been guided. Like I have to stay connected to myself so that I can have that you know, be executed. But I almost feel like I don't really have a choice in the matter anymore. It's like when I go into my preferences and my wants and desires, all of a sudden I'm taken out of what I feel like I'm really meant to be doing and being, and how I'm meant to be living my life.
I hear that. When you start in any art form and you fall in love with it, you know, it's pure.
It is.
There's
Pure is
nothing
my
else.
word of 2020, by the way.
Pure is.
It's my word of 2020. Pure.
Yeah.
Pure intention. Pure. Like pure.
Aren't words beautiful? Like pure. Like it first of all, it feels good in your mouth. Pure.
Yeah.
And then it invokes a very specific emotion or image.
Yeah.
Like, you know what pure is. And yeah, when you fall in love with an art form, it's pure at the beginning. And then as you get validated, as you need to make a living, you know, money comes into it, your voice often gets a little bit co-opted by the external.
Yeah.
And I can certainly relate to that, because, you know, there's two stages of that for me. There's the writing stage, and then there's the performing stage. You might have a similar experience. If I'm thinking about what other people want to hear when I'm writing, my true voice goes away.
100,000%. Yeah.
You know, but if I keep it pure, then I have at least the creation in its truest form. And then the second part is sharing it. And in the sharing, there's a whole nother thing, because even if what I'm sharing is pure, I'm still the person who's sharing it.
Yeah.
And of course, I still want people to like me. I want people to buy the book. I want people to, you know, feel moved, you know, all of that. And so that actually gets in the way of the communication of the poem.
Yeah.
And what I need to do is reconnect to the purity of what it is that I'm saying, so that I can express the truth.
You articulate yourself so well, because that's exactly like when we do our trainings for our guides for Kinergy. We don't teach them the method of the moves and all that. We just go into their own self-work of how can they be the most authentic them and express themselves in the most free, liberating way that is specifically for them. And when they feel that, when we feel that, when we can connect to that, like, people are drawn to truth. And when they see someone else expressing themselves freely, it gives them permission to also feel free to express themselves. And there's nothing, I believe, more beautiful than when people are free to completely express exactly who they are in whatever form it is for them. So I love it. I love it.
You don't want to be walking around in a straight jacket of cool.
No.
You know, it's like very confining. So,
do
you want to hear a poem from the book? Can I read you something?
I would love it so much.
Okay, great. So I feel like since we're having tea, I'm going to do this poem called Home, because I feel like it's appropriate.
Perfect.
I want to buy a house where I can make memories in every room. Plant a garden in my backyard and watch the flowers bloom. It will be big, but not so big the guests would get lost. It will be nice, but not so nice that everybody whispers what it cost. It will have gorgeous views, but being higher doesn't mean superior. I've learned not to judge a house by what's on the exterior. It's what's on the interior. And I don't mean design, because a house is not a home unless the people are aligned. I used to want a mansion. I thought that'd bring me joy. I went and bought a lot of shit that I had no time to enjoy. I was working for a living, but it wasn't working because I wasn't living. And a life without living is unfulfilling, filling up the empty space with all the things I was getting, yet I could never get enough or give enough to be enough. And that was constantly upsetting. Value is a tricky thing. Is it something that we own, or is it something that we can bring? Experiences are priceless, and it doesn't cost a thing, because once you make your mind up, you can accomplish anything, even if it seems impossible. Impossible is possible. We take for granted that defying gravity is illogical. Intend what you desire, and your will be unstoppable. See, hope can be despair in disguise. So instead, I decide. Then I watch as my reality realigns. After all, what is time if it's different in a different place? We're all in one place, floating out in outer space. They'll never bottle time. You can't buy anymore. And if you could, it'd be sold out at every corner store. So lately I've been thinking, what if less is really more? If my mortality is what I'm really living? I want to slide in socks across Italian marble floors. I want imported art to fill up every corridor. I want my kids to use my bed like it's their trampoline, to walk on top of my couch like it's their balance beam. I want to use my things so they aren't using me. After all, the most important things in life are free. My house is your house. Stay over anytime. If you're a friend, you'll have a permanent vacancy sign. Community is what our culture's lacking. Schedule is an excuse to stay in motion. I'm living by the beach, and yet I never see the ocean. It's always out of reach in the midst of my commotion. God forbid I'd have to sit alone without distraction. It's tough to notice thoughts when we're constantly in actions. No matter what your status is, that isn't your satisfaction. So I don't only care what you do, I care that you're doing it with passion. That's why we all should share our gifts and cultivate compassion. Because the fastest way to bliss is through a meaningful interaction. And since I'm not even sure that we exist, I've started asking if this world of form is merely the illusion of attachment. If I could let it all go, my roof would be the stars. My floor would be the earth. My doors would be ajar. My walls would be the wind. My seat would be a stone. My bed would be the clouds, and my heart would be my home. But since I want a family and I don't live this life alone, I'm gonna buy a house where I can make memories in every room. You're the best.
The snapping, the clapping, the hollering. I mean, wow.
Thank you. And thank you everybody who listened and made nice comments. Even the people who didn't make nice comments, I still appreciate you, and I'm wishing you love. It's all good, wherever you are.
Thank you so much for sharing. And I mean, we kind of were having that conversation without even realizing. That was so beautiful and poignant. And again, I'm just so grateful for you, and I'm excited for everybody to get your book, because like I said, I've basically read the whole thing after we just after I just got it. So I'm super honored and excited for you
Well,
to share.
Thank you so much, and thank you for sharing me with your audience, and thank you to everyone for listening. And you're an amazing light in the world. You're inspiring to so many, and I'm a friend and I'm a fan too. So if there's ever anything I can do for you, of course, I have your back.
Vice versa. We're here for each other, and we're all in this together. So
we are.
Community.
Thank you, my friends.
Love you, love you. Go get his book. It's in my pinned tag right here. Inquire Within. Out today.
Out today. All right. Lots of love. I'll see you soon.
Love. Bye. Wow, that was incredible. Thank you guys so much for coming on and having some tea with me and InQ, and especially during this time right now when there's a lot of uncertainty. Art and poetry and expression is so important, because that is what comes from within us to feel self-expressed. And when our mind gets in the way, that's when we really start believing the things that aren't true. So when we can connect to our creativity and our expression, that's where truth lies. So thank you guys so much for for coming in. Find something that you can do today. Go buy his book, or, you know, color, or do something that is creative and artistic that makes you feel expressed, and dance around, listen to some music, whatever it may be. Just unleash some of that creativity. All right. Love you guys so much. Have a beautiful day.